Never give up, you can make it. 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 Never give up on your goals, you can make it. Never give up, even when you want a person, never give up. Don't you do it, you can make it. You can make it. You can make it. You can make it.
Yo, what up? It's your boy XcaliberZero, the music producer you can go with. And today you're listening to The Realm, and I have my boy Beats by Danny with me. What's up, Danny?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, brother. Good, man. It's good to catch up with you. I know you just we just talked about, you going through a hurricane and stuff. You guys staying safe out there?
Yeah. It was crazy. Tropical storm hitting New York, but the power went out for a couple of days, but yeah, we're pretty good now.
I see you back on it. It's crazy because I was seeing that you still had like your posts going up and stuff. I'm like, bro, this guy's grinding right now.
Yeah, I had post scheduled for like 2 weeks out, and I was like so ahead of schedule, and now I'm behind. Like I'm not behind, I'm still ahead, but like I'm not as far along as I would like to have been.
Oh yeah, you had batched everything and stuff like that?
Yeah, I had everything ready for like last week and this week. And my goal was to keep working through the week, but then obviously with the power outage, I would like go to my parents' place, charge stuff, and then come back here. But obviously because I had no power, like I couldn't make it look cool or do anything like that. So.
For sure, man. That's the hustle right there. Had the generator popped up and everything.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know, this is my boy Beats by Danny. He's a content creator, music producer. How long you been producing for, Danny?
Over 15 years now. At this point, I think. Yeah.
Nice. I'm like crazy. At 14 myself, so it's cool to hear that people with the experience out there. And what made you like start producing? What made you get into it?
I would say like for me it was just like I was never really like super into sports. Like I would play sports growing up and like be on teams and things like that, like baseball teams. But I think for me it was just like trying to find like what my like clique in high school was, and I've always liked music. Obviously, like everyone in the world grows up with music, and I had a bunch of friends who were just like rapping. Like I had a friend who had a studio in his basement, and he had a microphone, like literally attached to the wall. Like people were rapping into a wall, basically. But he had it hooked up to a computer, and it was running through Sonar. This audio
classic.
DAW.
I remember Sonar.
Yeah, and he would record like mixtapes and stuff for people. And one day, I was in a bunch of classes with him. Shout out to my boy Papa. And I was basically like, yo, I can make your beats. Like, you guys keep rapping on industry instrumentals. That's when like mixtapes and industry instrumentals and ripping those instrumentals was cool to rap on. But I was just like, why don't you guys just like rap over my beats? And then that's kind of like how I rolled into it. Like all my friends were doing it, and I was just like, I didn't want to be a rapper. I didn't want to be in the forefront. So I was just like, I can just make the beats and still be part of the crew. So that's kind of how I got into it, really.
That's dope. Would you make the beats in front of them like live, or would you just have beats already ready?
Yeah. So at that time, like the studio wasn't equipped to do like production. Now he has a studio. Like this friend actually like kept going, and he has like his own business, like studio business.
That's dope.
So now he has that stuff, but back then he didn't. So I just had, so I worked like summer jobs to basically save up. I bought FL Studio. I bought like a little tower from like Costco that was like $600 at the time. And I bought, I got gifted a Casio keyboard like some Christmas. And I basically ran MIDI into the PC tower. And that's what I use. And I would cook up in my kitchen. So I lived in a really small apartment growing up, and my parents like hated the fact that I like played saxophone growing up. And so when I started putting headphones on and sitting at the computer, they were like, they were all about it. They're like, all right, cool. You're staying out of trouble. You're still working on your music that you really like, and we don't get to hear you. So this is perfect.
That's dope that they were supportive.
Yeah.
So were you in band then? Like, is that how, like, how did music really get influenced within you? Like who were some of your influences, and how did that start?
Yo, so I'm Mexican American, right? And I always tell people like my introduction to music and like my like the definition of like my culture is very different from probably most other Mexican Americans growing up in America. So my parents immigrated to this country when they were young. And so when my dad got here, he grew up on like rock and roll. So his favorite band is the Rolling Stones. And basically growing up, I would listen to like rancheras and like banda music and like the typical, like stereotypical, like Mexican music, like, the polka and like the 3/4, the 3/4 time signature type music. But like more than that, almost more vividly to me was like growing up on like La Bamba, like by Richie Valens, Selena, and like growing up on like classic American rock and roll, like Creedence Clearwater Revival and things like that. That my dad would just we would ride around on the weekends, and he would just like blast his music out of the car, and like everyone would look at us really weirdly because we grew up in a Spanish neighborhood, like you know, Mexican Americans, Salvadorians, Peruvians, like everyone. And we would be the only ones blasting like all this like rock and roll with guitars and stuff. So I think that's where like my introduction to music came from. And then eventually, like in school, like I always liked being a part of like the band. So I grew up playing clarinet. I did that for about a year. Then the prerequisite to play saxophone was you had to play clarinet. So you can get used to like your lips or whatever can get used to playing the instrument. So then I went into saxophone. And I played saxophone for about 8 years, like from middle school all the way through the end of high school. I was in jazz bands. I would try and compete too. Like there would be like national competitions to try and get into like exclusive bands and stuff like that. I was never like that good, but I always took it really seriously. I always like wanted to be good. And then eventually, I just got tired of band. I got tired of band class. Like this was around the time that like I was really like figuring out that I wanted to do music, and I would cut band class to go home and do digital music production.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually failed band class my last year of high school, and like I failed because I got so tired of the teacher like always complaining. He was like being a teacher and not really letting us play the music, which is like what I was there for. And I bought my own saxophone to like play, and the fact that I couldn't play it during school, like, you know, living in an apartment, I couldn't play it. So I would just go home and be like, screw this. I'm just going to make digital music. And like, I have more fun doing this anyway than showing up to class, but stay in school. That's not a plug to like drop out of school or drop classes. But when you have a passion, you just got to follow it, you know? So
that's dope though. Cause I actually started, I was in band as well. And
nice.
I think that music for sure has been.
Did you play drums? What'd you play?
Yeah, so I actually, in 6th grade, I started off and I wanted to play drums, but they didn't let me play drums. There was too many people who wanted to play. So I started off with trumpet. So I played like trumpet for a year. Then I went to choir, and then eventually I went back to band and I went straight to drums. So I did marching band and stuff like that. I wasn't in jazz band or anything, but that's dope that you, you know, infused those two worlds kind of collided together. Really, you know, in a young age, because that's actually what happened to me as well. Like I would stay after school and stuff and practice. So it's dope.
Yeah,
it's dope.
I think there's that generation that like saw like drumline or grew up on that, and I think that's why everyone wanted to play like drums during band. Like after that, I almost like threw my saxophone out. I was like, no, I want to play drums. Like get me on the drums.
That movie's a classic. Bro.
Yeah,
I would watch that at least like 1,000 times for sure. But yeah, man. So I kind of want to talk about like how exactly we met. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember about like 2 or 3 years ago, I started scrolling on Instagram and seeing that there was a community being built on here on Instagram and within the producer community and stuff, which is really strong now. It's really dope to see where it came from, you know, from then to how it is now. It's very rich and healthy. But I saw you on basically at RMC Beats. Shout out to the homie RMC Beats. I saw you on one of his posts or something, and I was like, "Who's this dude?" And I checked out your music, like, "Oh, this guy's dope." And then I think like that same weekend, I think RMC Beats was like in Target, and he had like a little sample or something, and you had to recreate a beat based off like his little toy piano he played in Target. And I think me, you, and then Jaguar Kevin. Shout out to Jaguar Kevin.
Jaguar, that's another one.
Yeah, he's a homie. You guys we all did a remix, and he posted all 3 of us, and I'm like, yo, I gotta give this dude a follow. This dude's too dope.
Yeah. Likewise, yeah. When I did that, when I saw that, I was just like, "Yo, these guys are snapping." Both you and Jaguar, yeah. I was just like, "These guys are going in." Like, crazy.
It was dope how like that's what really like introduced me to you, and then since then, I think that we've kept a pretty cool relationship. I know we met up once with RMC Beats. You came for the Grammys. What was that, like last year?
That was like, I think that was 2 years ago now, to be honest.
Oh, snap. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met up and Danny came for the Grammys. You were working for, what were you working for?
Vivo. Yeah.
Vivo. Yeah. Vivo at the time. So did Vivo help with like any of you, like as far as like production or anything? Like what, did that help you as far as your music career at all? Cause I feel like that kind of, you know, goes hand in hand, but I never really asked you about that.
Yeah. So I started at Vivo as an intern. The company, now it's funny because now everyone knows Vivo when you say it. So to me, it's still really weird because I started when Vivo was 5 months old. Like
Oh,
no
snap.
one knew about this company. Like it still blows my mind that it blew up as big as it did, but obviously it's on YouTube. So um yeah, like they didn't necessarily help. I think what I learned most about, or what I learned the most while working at Vivo, was how the industry worked. So Vivo is a music company that interacts with the labels all the time. So I was basically on the inside of a startup that like taught me how the industry works and was showing the industry how to go digital. So prior to Vivo, the reason it exists is because music videos were like a loss leader, right? For artists, like you would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for music videos, and then you would have to recoup it doing shows. And Vivo came about just like putting ads in front of videos and saying like, well, your fans are going to watch the videos anyway, like you might as well monetize it. And
Hmm.
before that, labels and artists weren't thinking that way. So shout out to Vivo for like, yeah, just trailblazing that, because nowadays like artists can make videos and make money off of their videos. So it's a win-win for everyone.
That's dope. I didn't
Um,
even know that back history of that. That's dope. But yeah, I remember we met up uh when Vivo sent you out for the Grammys, and then we made like a cook-up video, Instagram video, and stuff like that. That's kind of like the birth of the relationship, and now it's cool because like I haven't really talked about this on here, but you know we chat pretty often with like you, John, and Nick
yeah,
and stuff. So it's cool to see like because I really feel like you're becoming a pioneer
appreciate
for this producer community. Like I think you're seeing a different lane that people don't see yet, and one like it's gonna get to a point where you're at the forefront of it. I feel like, especially because you know we could see that people don't know this dude Danny did a 365-day Instagram beat challenge. Literally posted a beat and a new video every single day for 365 days. You were the first person I ever seen do that, and it was crazy to see you actually finish it because I know you were grinding. I know you were like coming off the plane. I need to do this beat video like late, like 9 p.m. Did a beat video, and then like
yeah.
you know just grinding and stuff like that. So I definitely think that you have a bright force, a bright lane that you're creating right now. And I want to kind of talk about that. So what is
Appreciate
like the
that. Yeah.
future of Beats by Danny? What is your brand evolving into?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying all that. Yeah. I mean, I think my brand is I'm still exploring it right now, but I guess I should start by just saying that I'm a little bit older than most of the generation on Instagram. So I'm 32, and I don't like I literally do not let my age dictate like anything, right? So that's just to say that I've seen a lot more, and I've always been at the forefront of everything. Like growing up, like YouTube, I was there for the beginning of it, and I was on YouTube making producer videos like cookups.
Hmm.
Well, like back in 2011, and
Dang.
the one thing I learned looking back at my younger self was that this is going to sound cocky as hell, but it's not meant to sound cocky, is that I always feel like I've been a visionary. I just didn't believe in myself enough. Like
Mm.
I always saw what was coming, and I always saw how to execute on it. And I just never followed through because I was too afraid of, oh, I don't want to be at the forefront. I don't want people to see my face, or I just want to lean back, or maybe I'm not good enough. Like
Mm.
all those kinds of thoughts. But now that I'm older, like, and I've gone through many, many life experiences, like I take that and apply it to my music, and I see where I want to go. Like I have a very clear path of like what I want to do. My ultimate goal is actually to compose for film, and be like the Mexican Hans Zimmer, right? So, or
That'd be
John
fire.
Williams. And what I'm doing now is like I'm using hip hop to get there, right? Pharrell's like a big inspiration for me. So Pharrell, you see him doing like animated movies and composing for like Hidden Figures and things like that, where he's blending like hip hop and classical music and what movie music means. So I think as my brand evolves, like I just want to show people like, or not even just people, like anyone, like a young guy, young girl, like someone that wants to do music or just wants to follow their passion in general. I want to show them like, here's how you do it. Like here's not step by step, but here's a way that someone did it. Because I feel like a lot of people talk about the things that help get you to success, but they don't actually show them to you. Like before I did the 365-day challenge, there were a bunch of producers that said, "Oh, I used to do a beat a day," but like I never saw them do that.
Right.
Not to say they need to show me, like who am I for them to show me, but I want to show the younger generation, like yo, I did that and I showed you how hard it was, or I showed you what it took, right? So yeah, like for my brand, the future is just, I want to be someone that people look up to as just a person that like showed them the way, and they adapted and learned from it, and took their own gems from it. But I just want to showcase like the fact that hard work will outbeat talent any day, and I want to show people that work as the journey unfolds. So I think that's the future of my brand, is just more hard work and more just showing people how to do the things and the results of things that I try.
That's real dope, man. I respect that. I respect the fact that you touched on, like, you said it was cocky, but I didn't think it was cocky at all, because I actually can relate to that. Because like for me, I used to struggle with that as far as having the confidence and just like really believing in myself and
Mhm.
really doubting myself. And I feel like a lot of producers, a lot of creatives in general deal with that. They're stuck in their head a lot. You know, that creativity muscle kind of relates to that. And if you let it really
Mhm.
affect you and really let it, like, if you let it hold yourself back, it will. And I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of see how, like, what really helped you get out of that mind frame and really become more confident and just start attacking. Because since then, you become a killer.
Yeah, I would say the confidence really went super ultra super saiyan, like like right after the 365-day challenge.
Mm,
I noticed a big mental shift in myself, even outside of music, like in terms of, I can't say where I work now, but like I shifted, companies during a pandemic.
mm.
Like I have a mortgage on a house I'm paying off. Like I bought a house last year.
Big congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing things that like someone might think like this kid is crazy, like he had a good job and he went and got another job. This is one of the most unstable times in the world. But like the 365-day challenge really, like, it showed me that I can overcome anything, because I still had a 9 to 5 doing the challenge. I still was going through life stuff, like breakups and um I said breakups plural, but like a breakup and like, trying to find myself and still going through the regular stuff that you go through with family and friends and things like that. And it showed me that like it's really hard to break yourself as a person. Like when your mind tells you that you can't go further, like you can overcome that. It's just a thought. When you think about it, it's just a thought. And the same way that a thought can take you and you can dream something big and execute on it, a thought can break you, right? So like once I started breaking everything down in that way, where it's just like, oh, here comes that thought again that's going to try and stop me from doing this.
Mm.
Let me not listen to that. Let me just do what I want to do. That's when everything changed for me. So physically, like I'm doing 2 workouts a day now after the challenge, because I have more time on my hands. So like I'm trying to fill it up with other things outside of music. I'm starting my YouTube channel. I'm monetizing differently than most other producers right now. And I have like a really clear vision of like exactly what I want to do in terms of like releasing singles. And um yeah, there's just, I think the shift in focus just came with just understanding myself more than anything. It's just like a lot of self-awareness that led to all of this.
That's dope. Yeah, I think that doing something that like that big of goal and having the discipline to follow through with it, it really does, build that mental straight. Like even if you do, like for me, I haven't done like a 365-year challenge like that. But if I do something
Yeah.
for, like, if I say for 3 months I want to execute on, let's say,
Mhm.
just not eating French fries or something like that. I did that for
Right.
like 3 months, and with that, it kind of just snowballed into like me doing it for so long for 3 months and not eating French fries. I was addicted. Like this, it may seem like something so small, but I was super addicted. But
Yeah.
um like just cutting that out just shifted everything, like the way I work out,
Hmm.
the weight I lost, like everything, the habits that I built as far as eating and stuff.
Hmm.
It really helps. So something as small as like just being one day at a time. There's a Navy SEAL who I've watched, and he was on like a Joe Rogan podcast, and he said you got to think of it like if you're thinking of like a big goal,
Yeah.
you don't look at it as like I have a whole year or a whole, not,
Yeah.
3 months to finish this goal. You just have one more, like, sunrise is what he says. You have to wake up one more day and
Yeah.
do what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And that it's just about that one day, not the bigger picture. So it's cool that you built
Yeah.
that confidence, and I have seen you, come into a whole nother level, like from this challenge as well.
Yeah.
And you said that you work out twice a day. You shared your schedule with me, the homies John and Nick, and
Yeah.
you have like a strict schedule.
Yeah.
of your week of how you plan everything. How did you become like? I feel like organization is super big for any
Hmm.
producer or artist who was trying to
Yeah.
take this to the next level. How did you build those habits as far as scheduling and being really organized? You're very organized.
Yeah.
So touch on that a
I
little
do.
bit.
I actually appreciate that because I used to be super disorganized. My mom even says it to me. She's always telling me how like disorganized I am. But like just to touch on the other point really quick, it's crazy you brought that guy up because I just bought his book. Actually, it's called Can't Hurt Me, and I think his name is David Goggins or
Oh, it wasn't
Goggins.
David Goggins, but
Oh, it
it
wasn't.
was.
Oh,
But I
okay.
have his book too. I read his book as well. That book is crazy, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in terms of my schedule and getting organized, I think um, so. Like time, everyone says it, right? Time is the most important, most valuable thing you have, right? And one thing that I always sacrificed with my music was like time for others. Like
Mm,
I was so selfish with my own time that I messed up relationships, I messed up friendships, and I don't really have much to show for it, from doing those things. And so when I finished the challenge, I realized like, one of the things really holding me back was that I overcompensated for wanting to make music, that I ignored the other important things in my life.
mm,
And I wanted to fix that. And I knew the only way to fix that was to start focusing on how I'm using my time. Because when I go to the studio, it's not like I'm going to sit down and make a beat. Like it could take me an hour to make a beat. It could take me 15 minutes. It could take me 5 minutes. It could take me 3 days to like get an idea out. And so when you make time for music, I started realizing like, you don't go to the studio to like make the music, or at least in my opinion, this is like my philosophy. I feel like I go to the studio with the music already made. Like my life experiences will turn into the music, and so when I sit down, I optimize for like, I'm going to be the most creative I can be because I have a lot to bring to the table, right? So instead of like putting music at the forefront and saying I need to sit down and make music, I started fixing up my days so that I would go through experiences before I created the music, or I would wake up and use my music as like a journal or something like that. So the way I became organized was just like, I knew music was still a big focus, but now I realized that health, fitness, relationships, friendships, and just overall, just like not working on music is really important in life. And yeah, I just kind of just organize my day by like, I have to go to work, I have to wake up. When I wake up, I can work out. I have a house to maintain, so like I have to pay bills or like figure things out to like make my house more efficient. And I just started prioritizing the things that mattered, and then I realized like this could shift and this could change. So as people start coming into my life, or things pop up, I can always rearrange the schedule. But because I have a schedule, it always makes me feel better about it, because I'm like, well, I know I'm dedicating time to it. So maybe 1 hour on this day that I don't do music isn't that big of a deal, because I have you know 20 more hours throughout the week to work on it.
dang, bro, I feel like that's super important. Like, really
Yeah.
slept on as far as like, I think that right now there's a stigma, especially with like younger producers, that you just need to be creating all day and just be stuck into a room, just
Yeah.
locked in and just like creating 50 beats a day, which I don't feel like is one, healthy for you, and two,
Hmm.
necessary. Not saying that like creating a large amount of beats is bad or anything like that, but I feel like
Yeah.
you really need, from my experience at least, and it seems like it's yours as well, you really
Yeah.
need that balance. It's really hard. Like,
Hmm.
I've asked multiple people about this because, for me, that's something I'm still trying to figure out as far as like how to make sure that everything is balanced. Because, you're sacrificing something. You're sacrificing
Yeah.
time within music, or you're sacrificing time with like family or whatever, the house or whatever. So
Hmm.
I think that it's cool that you touched on that, because I feel like it's really important to be able to kind of have everything organized and then compound it over time, where you're doing the same thing or the same routine within every day or every week. So then
Yeah.
over time, you're not feeling bad, like you said, if you're missing an hour and anything like that, because you already have the work and the attention in other places. So that's
Yeah.
dope that you built that mindset. And I think that's a great example, man. Like, especially for the younger generation, like
Yeah.
that stuff is big.
Yeah. Another big key for like organization is like having goals, right? Because being organized is one thing, but like if you don't have the end in sight, like you're almost organizing for the wrong things.
Mm,
So like I feel what you just said about like the younger generation, or even just like anyone that makes music and overcompensates. Like you got to understand, like, why are you spending so much time on music? Like, is it because you're focusing on the wrong skills when you're focused on music? So a lot of people like spending a lot of time in the studio, just sitting in front of FL or in front of their DAW and just cranking out beats. But, you got to understand, are you really getting better, or are you just doing, mediocre beats like over and over and over and over? And instead of using that time to make beats, maybe you could just spend 30 minutes watching a YouTube tutorial on music theory, or playing the piano, or, some new controller, or some new way of mixing. And I feel like, organizing your time, if you don't have a goal in sight, it almost doesn't matter how organized it is. You're not going to accomplish anything. So I always try to make sure I always organize for accomplishing things, and always break things down into like sub goals. So you have one main goal, and then you break it down to little goals that can help get you to that big goal.
Dang, boy, you got the gems right there. That's some sauce right there. I respect that. Speaking of studio, we had a studio session one time, and I know you've had multiple studio sessions before. How important is it to collaborate not only with artists but producers as well? And do you prefer to do that in the studio, or do you prefer to do that outside the studio? Because when we collabed, and I know that you collabed with John the Dreamer, and I've seen the video, and it was very dope. It was like we were just making tracks very like seamlessly, where like it was like flow state. Basically we're just sitting there being able to create and not even overthink or think about anything. It was just very natural. And one of the tracks that we made is like one of my favorite tracks that like I've been a part of. So what do you prefer?
I prefer collabing in any medium. Like, I don't really have like, I need to be in the studio, or I can do it over Zoom, and I do it over Zoom. Like, I just need to be comfortable. That's like my only thing. The hardest part about collaborating to me is when you meet someone, like, there's always that energy between you guys where there's always those moments where you're uncertain of what's about to happen, right? And you could either get excited by it, or you could be consumed with fear by it, right? So I think that's the hardest part of collaborating for me. I think meeting people in person helps a lot, because we're used to interacting with people on that level. So it makes it a lot easier when there's no screen involved, or you're in the same physical setting. I feel like that helps a lot. So I think our collabs went really well, because the first time we met, you guys came to a hotel room, and the hotel room had a vibe. And the way we set up the studio had a vibe, and like, it just wasn't like a regular thing, but we were all like pitching in to help build like the studio setting for ourselves. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I think collaboration is really important. Like, when I was younger, maybe it's because my generation, or like the generation right before me that taught me, or that I saw from far away, like, everyone always stressed the importance of like, being the producer, and like being the one that makes the beat, or makes the melody, or does everything, and gets the placement, and as I got older, like, I started learning from the younger generation, actually, that it's cool to grab a sample pack. It's cool to grab, some other producer and collaborate with them, or send them loops, or send them files. And, oftentimes, it's like, what do they call it? Like, it's like a ripple effect, right? Because I know a bunch of people that's in my network, a bunch of people that's in your network, and eventually, like, our networks are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So collaboration makes so much sense. And especially with the internet, you can collaborate overseas. So I've worked with artists from Chile. I've worked with artists from Argentina, Sweden, Germany, and even here in the United States, in different states, like, and it's all over the internet. And we've made crazy dope songs, like amazing songs, and they have thousands of plays, and like, these artists are like coming up. And it just shows you, like, if I had just been in the mentality that I need to be in the same studio as someone, I wouldn't have made that music, and it wouldn't have touched that many people. So I think opening your mind to collaboration is like a real gem, especially moving forward, like, for sure.
For sure, man. And speaking of collaboration with like artists and stuff, so I know that you're kind of approaching the way that you sell beats a little bit differently. I wanted to see if you want to touch on that subject a little bit, because I know you have, your content right now on YouTube. If anybody hasn't checked that out, be sure to check out Beats by Denny on YouTube. But he's literally just dropping like his blueprint basically. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of, have you touch on that here a little bit, and share some of your, like, your success, and your, what you've tried, and what doesn't work, and what works, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I've honestly tried a little bit of everything. everything from type beat channels to ClickFunnels to just DMing artists to I'm not even going to front. I used to use bots on Instagram to reach artists, and that was actually really successful while it lasted, to be honest. And I've sold beats, locally and stuff like that. I think, at the end of the day, what I've realized is I kept searching for a method when the real gem, I think, in anything for any producer is you're a business. And if you've ever worked for a business, or if you know someone that works for a company or someone, that they do whatever it takes to close a deal in their respective business, right? Like if you're a roofing company, you're going to put ads in the magazines and the newspapers. You're going to put ads on Google search terms. You're going to reach out and have word of mouth. Your sales are going to come in however they come in, right? And I think when I realized that it's a business, like anything else, I realized like it doesn't matter, that someone else is dominating type beat channels. It doesn't matter if someone's doing ClickFunnels and doing an amazing job. If that doesn't work for me, if I can't figure that out, then I need to figure out something that works for me. So I think for me, kind of trying to figure out my business and kind of what direction to go in, I feel like collaborating with artists has been always a strong point for me, because I'm really truthful and honest with people, even to the point where it gets uncomfortable sometimes, or oftentimes, like I wouldn't say oftentimes, but sometimes it leads to confrontation. But I think it's healthy, right? Because every artist that buys a beat off YouTube or buys buys 50 beats from ClickFunnels, they want to be like the Drakes or Rihanna's or Eminem's or the Babies or like whoever's big right now. They want to be that artist. So when you're selling them 50,000 beats for $10, and that's not like a jab or anything, but what I'm saying is like when you're selling them all these beats for $10 because you want to come up, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about them, right? Facts, and bro. That's not good business, no matter what business you're in. If Dropbox charged me $1,000 for a terabyte of space, they're just thinking about the bottom line. They're not thinking about me. But no, they're charging $9.99, and they're going to try and reach as many people and bring me as many services as possible. And so that's kind of what I want to do. I want to have like a middle ground where I like working with artists. I'm pretty good at it. I've been making beats for 15 years. I'm super confident in my musical ability in terms of, executing on a track. And at this point, I just want to share those experiences with people. And I'm treating myself more like a luxury brand in terms of like the beat landscape. So if you think of like Louis Vuitton or a Gucci or that level of brand, right? Or like a Rolex watch or, a BMW or a Mercedes, like that kind of brand where you could buy a regular car, but you could buy a Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? Like right. It's for people that want that, right? It's for people that want that like exclusivity. They want to be known as, yo, I got my beat from Beats by Danny. Like, you have to go work with him personally, and you have to pay him like a decent amount to get that beat. And he's going to help you with your social media plan, your branding, your release. He's going to promote you. Like, you're going to get a tailored experience that you can't get when you go get a type beat on YouTube. And, I'm changing my business model to that method because I feel like it works for me. And I've been doing this for so long that when I used to DM artists, they used to ask me for exclusives, and they would give me money for exclusives. Some artists would give me up to $500 for an exclusive. And I'd still say no, because everyone else on the internet selling beats online was like, only sell non-exclusive, never give up the exclusive rights. Those artists aren't ever going to blow up. That was literally some of the marketing that was used. Yeah, those artists are never going to blow up.
I remember seeing that.
And when I think about that, I'm like, yo, that's the opposite of what I want. I want artists to blow up. I want that artist to be the next Drake, or even be the little Nas X that has the craziest anthem of the year, and then you never hear from him again, right? Like, because that to me means more than making $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month over a beat. Thank God I'm in a position where I have a really great job and I'm able to sustain myself, and I don't need to worry about those things. I know there's some people in the world that can't have that opportunity, and I understand where those people are coming from. But for someone like me in my position, for my business and for my goals, I feel like this makes a lot of sense to do. And I feel like because no one else is doing it at this level, I feel like I have like an open market where I can just go and sell in this way and find the people that are interested in these beats.
That's go to my boy Danny from the premium quality beats, bro. That's dope, man. Like the way that you explained that was perfect, because I think that's my mentality as well, because I've tried multiple things as far as like type beats. And I was on type beats really early, before type beats was like a big thing. And I had success from it. I didn't even realize my success was coming from that. I was on SoundClick and I was getting like sales and stuff, but like it's not consistent now. Like, it's not like I didn't stay onto it. And I kind of had like the same route where I was going like, a few different directions. But I think the way that you're explaining it is perfect, because at that point you're building a brand and like you said, you're providing more value than you're actually receiving in that sense. And I think that's great. I think that's like, that's the next level, or that's the vision that I'm trying to go after as well, as like being the central brand and becoming the business. And, at that point, when you're working with that relationship, if that artist blows up, or if not, you still have that relationship. So like, if you want to, like, as far as producer, if you wanted to like drop merch or drop, a product or something like that, that artist is more likely to come to you because you're building a relationship with them and they're, attracted to what you're providing as far as a brand. It's not even about the product at that point. It's about who you are as a person. And I think that's dope, man, because we, like the producer scheme right now is like trying to find a quick buck and have it as automated as possible. And I'm not talking about like a slight like ClickFunnels or anything like that, but like, it's almost like we want to do as least work as possible to get a great result. And I think that, that's not fulfilling. When I put in work, or something, I'm sure you feel this way too. Like when you put in work with someone, and no homo, and you're actually working and stuff like that, like when you build that foundation with someone, it just makes you feel better, and the product comes out better, and you're building a long lasting like brand relationship with another artist and stuff. So that's dope that you have that vision.
Yeah. And even if people want to think of it monetarily, right? Like I'm selling my beats at $350. I only have to sell 100 beats that price to make over $30,000, right? And if you're selling beats at $19.99 or $29.99 or $30.99, whatever your price is for non-exclusives, you got to sell volume to do that, right? Like you got to sell a lot. So like whatever way you look at it, there's work involved in both sides, right? You need SEO for type beat channels. But like the bottom line is like, if you have a target number, like you got to figure out what works best for you to get there. And monetarily, like I'm happy, sitting there with the artists and talking to them to make that money. But that's just my personal choice, right? But like, like you're saying, like it's like a numbers game at this point. It's almost like producers are more like worried about how much they make more so than like, where the song goes or how it gets placed or that kind of stuff, which is kind of unfortunate because the music suffers at that point, right? Like producers, I think that's why a lot of producers have started becoming brands themselves, because some producers started realizing they don't care about the artist. Like they want to be like the person known as like the person that sold the most beats or the person that makes the hottest beats or whatever the case is, which I think is fine. But, you got to pick a lane. You got to pick which way you're going. So.
For sure, bro. I respect that. So what do you see in the future for Beats by Danny? What do you see, like if you're looking 5 years from now, what do you see yourself doing as far as like what kind of content you're making and what kind of audience you're reaching out to and stuff like that? Like where's your vision at?
Yeah, so I actually have this really big goal that I hope I can execute on. But I've been trying to form this global crew. That's what I call it. Like, that's what I call the people that support me and follow me, the global crew. And my ultimate goal with the global crew is to manage producers, right? So I want to get to the point where not necessarily that I'm no longer making music, but that I'm finding the talent, right? Because I feel like I have a really great ear. I've always had a great ear for musicians. I always recognize people that are better than me. Like that's like some low key like sauce right there. I always listen to people, even people that like think I don't follow them back on Instagram. Like I'm watching people. Like sometimes I search for people and I'm watching and I'm listening to like what people are doing. But that's like low key. One of my goals is to manage producers and help them cut, a lot of the BS that I went through to find myself well ahead of time. And I'm actually already doing that with certain producers. I don't want to put them on blast, but like there's certain producers that people who are listening to this right now probably follow that have thousands of followers that I'm like low key, like telling them what they should be doing in a way. And it's kind of like my experiment to see, like, do I really know what I'm talking about when I look at this producer and tell them, like, do X, Y, and Z, next month do this, next month do that, next month do this. And so far I can tell you that since I've helped that producer, they were doing somewhat similar things before me, but I kind of helped like nail down that focus. They've already in the first 2 weeks have made over $2,000 selling beats.
Damn.
So just recognizing those opportunities that here's a person with an audience, they're targeting their audience the wrong way, they're getting frustrated, they're trying all the things that are being thrown at them in ads. Let me just tell them what I think they should be doing, because we had that kind of relationship already. It's stuff that I've seen them do in the past. They just haven't been focusing on it. And just even that little bit of mentorship where you refocus someone, that's like managing in a way, right? Like that's like telling people like, hey, you should really be doing X, Y, and Z because look at your audience. And when they start doing it and start realizing it, the cash starts flowing in. So yeah, it's crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's a dope vision. I've never really heard anybody doing that before. So that's a dope goal. So as far as the global crew right now, so you offer services on your page right now, like you offer a subscription, right?
Yeah, I offer a $5 subscription to the global crew, and it basically comes with one-on-one consultation every week for $5, one-on-one consultation for every week, and a sample pack every month for $5. And the reason I did it for so low is because I want to see who really wants the gems. Like $5, if you can't pull $5 together to ask me questions every week to really come up, like, I don't know what you're like, I don't know what else you're investing your money in. You know what I mean? Because I get a ton of DMs, I get a ton of questions, and it's not that I don't want to work with people. It's more like, my time is really valuable. Your time is really valuable. Like, do you really want to learn, or are you just looking for a quick answer?
Right.
Because if you're looking for a quick answer, like, I'm not the producer for you, right? Like, don't follow me, don't interact with me. Like, I'll say that straight up. But if you are looking to figure out how you can start working, like $5 shows me that you're just willing to work. You know what I mean? Like, you're just willing to do it. Like, sure, I'll give you $5. Just show me or tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can tell you, like, the producers I'm working with already, like, they're doing some incredible things business-wise that I didn't even think of doing. And like, now I'm starting to think of doing. And just like, I learned gems from them the same way they learned gems from me, but without that initial, like, kind of handshake there, it just doesn't work, because people are just looking for a quick answer. But when they're willing to work with you week after week, I think that's the global crew, right? Like, that's like the global crew mentality is like, we're here to help each other, and we're all here to come up, like, and we're all gonna do it together, kind of thing.
That's dope, man. I think that's definitely worth it. If people don't know, this dude Danny's worked in the studio with Cash Money AP. He's been mentored by like people like Curtis King and stuff like that. So he definitely has a lot of experience and knows what he's talking about. I've had plenty of conversations where I've gotten help from Danny and stuff like that. So definitely recommend you checking out that service. It's $5. I mean, and from me and Danny are in a Discord channel, and every time that I get on there, there's a new gem drop. I swear to you, every time that I log into that Discord, there's something new I'm learning. I'm like, what is this? I didn't even know this was a possibility. So, Danny definitely has the long-term view. He has a different vision than most producers have, and he's still building within the community. And he's just showing you another lane. And I think that it's definitely worth investing in if anybody's looking into that. But we're going to wrap it up here, Danny. I appreciate you, joining me on this interview. And, it's dope to see the progress. I know when I first started following you, you were like a 5 or like 4K or something.
Yeah,
and now
that's crazy.
you're just popping off, and it's dope, man. So I want to end this off by saying, I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but what is the biggest gem you could give to your younger self, or a younger version of yourself, or like a young producer?
Yeah, I think the biggest gem to me is life is bigger than music. I think I used to get that confused. I think that's the biggest gem I would give to myself as a younger self, is that not that I didn't enjoy life. Trust me, I've traveled the world. I've been fortunate enough to do stuff like that. But I almost let music become my life, or consume my life more so than than I probably should have. So my biggest gem for the younger generation is like you're seeing people make thousands, sometimes even advertise millions. You're seeing people throw ads at you and target you in ways and psychologically kind of try and target you. I would say like just take your time, have your goal, use that knowledge that they're throwing at you. It's okay to invest every once in a while, but like, use that knowledge and just do what you feel is right for you. If you fail, it's on you. If you succeed, it's on you. No one else can be responsible for that. And I think that's the biggest gem is like, life is bigger than music, and the life experiences you have, like no one can live your life for you. So I guess that's what I mean by that. So that's the biggest
dope,
gem I
man.
can give myself.
That's dope. That's a good gem right there. Respect, Danny. Like I said, I appreciate you, man. We're gonna wrap
thanks
it
for
up
having me, man.
Yeah, for sure, brother. For sure. Definitely follow my man Beats by Danny. Where can they follow you? Where's all your socials?
Yeah, my socials are a little mixed right now. So I would just say on Instagram, Beats by Danny. And then on YouTube, it's youtube.com// Beats by Danny G, just because for some reason YouTube won't let me have Beats by Danny. So, but yeah, follow me on those two places. That's where I'm really focused on. And then I can send you guys links to my Discord from there, and like we can chat from there.
Sure, brother. All right, man. Take care, brother. Appreciate
Awesome.
you
Peace.
joining me.
Yeah.
Peace, man.
Yeah.